It was 3 a.m. on I-70, somewhere in eastern Ohio. I'd been awake for 20 hours straight. The truck was starting to sway a little bit, a sure sign I needed to pull over. I saw the sign for a roadside rest stop. Next right, it was the Old Kind, just a small parking lot, a tiny concrete bathroom structure, and a picnic area surrounded by thick woods. I pulled the rig into the last space, the one farthest from the weak yellow lamppost. I cut the engine. The silence that followed was instant and heavy, broken only by the ticking of the cooling metal of the engine block. It was pitch black outside. I pulled the heavy curtain across the passenger window, adjusted the seat, and just wanted to crash out for 4 hours. Before I could even close my eyes, I noticed something. In the absolute furthest corner of the asphalt, near the edge of the tree line, there were shapes. Maybe 5 or 6 of them. They weren't sitting in cars or using the picnic tables. They were standing, just standing still in a loose circle, facing inward toward the shadows. I squinted. They weren't dressed like travelers or even homeless people. They were wearing long, dark trench coats or heavy robes, something that swallowed the light. Even from this distance, they felt too solid, too black against the night. They were perfectly silent. No talking, no movement, just standing in a formation. My first thought was, it's a cult, just a weird ritual. I see a lot of strange stuff on the road. This was maybe a 6 out of 10 on the bizarre scale. I decided to ignore them. I pulled my cap down, closed my eyes, and tried to sleep, but I couldn't. The thought of them out there, completely silent, was pressing against the thin metal of the cab. I had to look one more time. I eased myself up, just enough to peek through the gap in the driver's side curtain. When I looked out, the scene hadn't changed. They were still standing there, facing the middle of the circle, except they weren't. If a switch was thrown, every single head snapped up and turned to face me, all 6 of them, simultaneously. Their circle was still intact, but now their focus wasn't on the ground or the shadows. It was absolutely fixedly on my truck cab. I couldn't make out any features, but I felt the weight of their gaze through the glass in the dark. It was like they had been waiting for a cue, and me peeking out was it. My heart immediately went from 0 to 1,000. This wasn't a weird ritual. This was surveillance. I ducked back down below the window line, my breath catching in my throat. I fumbled for the keys in the ignition, but my hand was shaking too hard. They weren't staring at the ritual. They were staring at me. I shoved the key into the tumbler, missed the first time, then cranked it. The engine caught, roaring to life, the loudest sound in the entire county. Through the passenger side mirror, I caught movement. Slow movement. They were walking. Moving as one unit, still in their tight circular formation. They weren't running, weren't charging. They were marching in place toward the truck like a self-propelled silent black ring. It was horrifyingly methodical. Every step was synchronized. It was like watching a single 6-legged creature glide across the asphalt. I slammed the truck into drive, but my foot slipped on the accelerator. The truck lurched forward violently, throwing me back in the seat. I fought the steering wheel, trying to point the massive rig toward the exit without slamming into the lamppost. I risked a glance at the passenger side mirror one last time. They were getting close now, close enough that I could see the material of their robes wasn't fabric. It was too heavy, too thick. And their faces. They were featureless, just dark, pale blanks under the shadow of the hoods. I saw the reflection of the lamppost light catch something not their eyes, but the smooth white curve of their foreheads. They were looking up, completely focused on the cab. I didn't slow down for the stop sign or the exit ramp. I floored it, the big truck rattling and shaking as I hit the highway shoulder too fast. As the truck rocketed back onto I-70, I looked in the side mirror, straining to see past the rush of the night air. The circle stopped exactly where my truck had been parked. They didn't chase. They simply turned, facing the now empty space where my cab had been, and stood there, silent and still. They weren't looking at the truck, which was miles down the road. They were looking at the spot I had left. I hit 80 miles per hour and didn't look back again, knowing I had just disturbed something that wasn't meant to be disturbed. It was watching the empty space where I had been.